So Schöffel is a German ski brand at heart. It's quite an interesting backstory about how they got into the field sports, certainly Britain. What is that backstory?
It is a really interesting story. So as I say, they're the oldest outdoor clothing company in the world. But nowadays, there's kind of four pillars to the business. The ski, as you say, there's outdoor. There's their corporate wear. So they do what they call the professional product, which is for the likes of BMW motorcycle wear. And then country, which is us. And country wear came about 32 years ago, actually. So a British businessman, entrepreneur by the name of Corey Campbell-Taylor, who lived in Oakham, he was the distributor for Schöffel Ski in the UK. So very familiar with the product. Schöffel were the first European company, I believe, to have a Gore-Tex license. They were very early adopters of Gore-Tex technology. And Corey actually had been skiing, I think, in Teen or Val d'Isère or somewhere in like treacherous, horrible conditions, wearing a Gore-Tex ski suit. And then a couple of weeks later, he was shooting at Rockingham Castle in Northamptonshire. And he was miserable. He was wearing what everybody wore back 35 years ago, a wax jacket that was kind of frozen solid, wasn't particularly waterproof, certainly wasn't breathable. And he thought to himself, how was I comfortable in such horrific conditions in Teen or Val d'Isère, where we are skiing, and yet I'm miserable today? Somebody is missing a trick here. So he approached the then sixth generation of the Schöffel family side of the company, the late Hubert Schöffel, and said to him, you should make basically a green ski jacket that we can shoot in. And Hubert said, I don't know anything about shooting. I don't know anything about the UK market. So you've got to do this. We can help you create the product. We've got the expertise and the access to obviously the latest technology in fabrics and fabrications. But you're going to need to sell this thing. You're going to need to market it. You're going to need to be responsible, and you're going to have to stump up some cash as well. So it became a partnership. So Schöffel Country was born with the first ever Gore-Tex machine washable, 100% waterproof, breathable shooting coat launched into the UK market 32 years ago. The original Schöffel ptarmigan shooting coat, and it was almost literally an overnight success. Corey developed it with 4 key retailers, with Fallows of Palmwell, with James Purdy and Sons, Roxtons of Hungerford, and William Asprey, which was then, I think, Asprey Gunroom. And they got some coverage in the Telegraph on the 12th of August, and they sold out within months. And so it was pretty much a success from the get-go. And kind of just proves that, if you find a problem that needs solving and you solve it well, it works. And that was the start of Schöffel Country. That was the origins of it. And ever since then, Schöffel Country has effectively been a partnership between Bradshaw Taylor, Corey Campbell-Taylor's company, and our parent company, Schöffel, in Germany and Bavaria.
So it was an instant success in a sense, but it wouldn't have seemed like that from the outset. It would have seemed like quite a gamble. What is it that enticed this global outdoor brand to delve into this quite niche British pursuit?
It's a really good question, and I don't necessarily know the answer, but I suspect it had a lot to do with Corey Campbell-Taylor's. He's quite persuasive, Corey. He's an archetypal salesman, entrepreneur, and when he believes in something, he's a passionate person. He really gets behind it, and he's really convincing. And I suspect he was quite convincing and quite persuasive with Hubert Schöffel with that original meeting to say that this is a real opportunity. And he was right. He did prove to be right. But yeah, it's a really good question. I suspect Hubert just liked Corey and believed in him and thought, you know what, we'll give this a go and see how it goes. I mean, the risk was also on, some of the risk was on kind of Corey's plate as well. They did say you got to stamp out 50% of the cost of developing very expensive product. And he did. And I think that kind of proved to them, well, he really does believe in this. And so, yeah, it was a risk worth taking. But to be fair, Schöffel remained a relatively niche, and Schöffel Country remained a relatively niche and small brand for probably best part of 5, maybe 7 years. We just produced technical outerwear. But that all changed with one particular product, the Schöffel Interactive Shooting Coat, which had a zip-in fleece. And that was the kind of game-changing moment, really, for Schöffel Country.